Amber Heard has finally filed her answer to the New York insurance company's petition, but she has also filed a counterclaim. That means she's suing the insurance company. We'll break it down right here. Sorry I went through this a little bit and highlighted a few points. I didn't get through the whole thing, but we'll break it all down. So defendant Amber Heard's answer and counterclaim. So first we start off with her answer. Ms. Heard does not. So in an answer, that's where she will dispute or admit the factual allegations that New York Insurance has made against her. So in this, you'll see admit or deny. And so that's kind of what that means, is she's admitting or denying the allegations that New York Insurance has set forth. So Ms. Heard does not dispute that venue may be proper in the Central District of California and that she has resided in California. So originally, she was disputing the fact that she did not reside in the United States, and so that the court didn't have jurisdiction over her. So she pretty much fled. But now she's saying she does not dispute that Central District of California may be a proper venue because she did reside in California. And again, she admits that she is a natural person and was domiciled in California at the time of filing. So as we discussed before, domicile is she lived in California and did not intend to leave or go somewhere else. She intended to stay in California. So at the time of the filing, which is the time that matters, she was domiciled in California. So now we go to the factual allegations. The policy lists in each limit occurrence of $1 million, a personal and advertising limit of $1 million, any one person or organization, and a personal liability limit of $1 million each occurrence. So that's how a lot of insurance policies are written. They limit a cap of $1 million, especially on umbrella policies. But in this situation, she had high limits for personal liability because she has a lot more assets. And so when you have more assets, you'll want higher limits for insurance so that you're adequately covered. So that's what type of insurance she had. Ms. Heard admits that by letter dated October 1st, New York Marine purported to accept her defense of Deputy Heard and reserve certain rights, and that this letter contains the quoted language. Cameron Envoy withdrew as one of the counsel representing Ms. Heard in the Depp lawsuit on November 2nd of 2020. So insurance companies, which I'll break down again, have a duty to defend you whenever you are sued. So they foot the bill whenever you're sued for something. So they have that's what's called a duty to defend. Then they have a duty to indemnify, which is pay for that $1 million policy limits. So occurrence limit, $1 million. So that means that they will pay $1 million of a verdict, up to $1 million of a verdict or a settlement. And if insurance companies do not do that, then you can sue them for bad faith, which will break down, and breach of contract, which will break down in Amber Heard's counterclaim. So their first cause of action was declaratory relief as plaintiff's duty to indemnify Heard. So what they're saying is the insurance company is asking this court to declare, that's what declaratory relief is, to declare that that the insurance company did not have a duty to indemnify Heard for the judgment order under the policy. So the insurance company is pretty much saying, look, court, we want you to tell us that we do not have to pay for Amber Heard's judgment. We do not have the duty to indemnify her. So that's legalese, and that's in much basic language. So the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. So Amber Heard is saying, so all insurance companies have a duty of good faith and fair dealing to their insured. So if you're in a car accident and you see the other person's insurance company, they don't have a duty of good faith and fair dealing to you. Only your insurance company does. And since this was Amber Heard's insurance company, New York Marine had a duty of good faith and fair dealing. So if you have homeowners insurance, that homeowner's insurance has a duty of good faith and fair dealing to treat you in how they should and not poorly. And there's certain ways that they can do that. They can delay your claim, they can deny it, they can undervalue it. There's many ways that they can do that, or not do a proper investigation. So the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, New York Marine contends that it has no duty to indemnify her for June 24th judgment order, which is from the Depp trial. New York Marine is obligated to perform all its duties. That New York Marine must indemnify her at least to its policy limit for any judgment, which was at least $1 million. She'll probably say that it was multiple $1 million that they have to indemnify her for. Ms. Heard also says that there's not been a final resolution because it's up on appeal, and so it's not ripe yet for a decision. Again, not yet been any final resolution because it's up on appeal. So here's this insurance company's second cause of action. Declaratory relief, as we said, is the judge saying that, or the court saying, hey, you don't have to pay. Now this one's plaintiff's duty to indemnify Heard for any judgment in the underlying action. They're asking the court to say that the insurance company does not have to pay. And here's a little different one, is declaratory relief, same thing as to the plaintiff's duty to defend Heard in the underlying action. So as we said, insurance companies have a duty to defend their insured. So in this case, New York Marine hired an attorney for Heard, but then he withdrew because he wasn't getting paid by New York Marine. So New York Marine was not paying, they violated their duty to defend is what Heard is saying. And so the insurance company is now saying that we want the court to decide that we did not have a duty to defend Amber Heard in the underlying action. Again, she says the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing continues to have a duty to fully defend her in the Depp lawsuit through its final resolution. So Amber Heard is saying that the New York Marine still has a duty to defend her even on the appeal. And New York Marine says that it has no obligation to defend her on an ongoing basis for the Depp lawsuit. Fourth cause of action, duty to defend her on the conditions. So what New York Marine is now saying is that there are certain conditions in the contract, in the policy that Amber Heard had that were not yet met, and so they did not have to defend her. So let's scroll down. New York Marine contends that it has no duty to defend or indemnify her in the Depp lawsuit because of Ms. Heard's alleged failure to comply with the conditions of the policy. So if you don't follow the steps that the policy has, that the insurance company has set out, then they could deny to indemnify you or defend you. And that she disputes New York Marine's contentions, contending that New York Marine is obligated to perform all its duties and that New York Marine had and continues to have a duty to fully defend her in the Depp lawsuit through its final resolution and a duty to indemnify her at least to its policy limit for any judgment, settlement, or award against her in the Depp lawsuit. So again, she's responding to their prayer for relief, and then she mentions some affirmative defenses. And in these, failure to state a cause of action, a lot of these are pretty form. You see them in a lot of answers, which this is what it is. No substantial prejudice, unclean hands, waiver, estoppel, breach of contract, and bad faith. So these two affirmative defenses goes to her claims in the counterclaim that we'll see. And this is her prayer for relief. So we'll scroll down to the more interesting document, which is the counterclaim by Amber Heard. So, nature of action, New York Marine sold Miss Heard an insurance policy in which it promised to defend and indemnify Miss Heard against and among other things. Lawsuits alleging that she defamed others. When Miss Heard was sued by Johnny Depp for defamation, she timely notified New York Marine and asked New York Marine to defend her. So those are usually some of the conditions that you must do in order for your insurance company to defend you when you have a policy like this. Same thing for a homeowner's policy or even a car or a auto insurance. You must timely notify them. While New York Marine promised to do so, it did not provide the full and capable defense to which Ms. Heard was entitled. It failed to pay attorney's fees and costs that it was obligated to pay for Ms. Heard's defense, and it acted in other ways that prejudiced Ms. Heard and her defense. In acting in this manner and described in greater detail below, New York Marine breached its contractual duties, tortiously violated the insurance policy's implied covenant of good faith, fair dealing, and repudiated the duties that it still owes to Ms. Heard while she pursues her appeal in the lawsuit brought by Mr. Depp. New York Marine's conduct and its coverage positions are contrary to the terms of the insurance policy, the law, the facts, and the insurance industry custom and practice. Ms. Heard is entitled to recover damages to compensate her. And she's also asking for punitive damages, that is, she wants the court to punish the insurance company for acting in this way, which she can get punitive damages for the tort of bad faith, which she is going to claim in this. And as we mentioned, the insurance company has a duty of good faith and fair dealing that is implied in all policies and all contracts. So she has two claims in this: breach of contract and bad faith. And there's different elements for each of those. And bad faith is a tort, which is really just any wrongdoing. So it doesn't not arise out of contract, although most torts do not arise out of contract, but this one can, because you have to have a insurance policy to start with. She goes through the parties. Ms. Heard is an actor, or was. I don't know if she'll get any more. She has appeared in such films as Aquaman and Justice League. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, on the basis it alleges, that New York Marine is a corporation organized in New York. Now, in this section, she's going to bolster her bad faith claim. Ms. Heard is informed and believes that New York Marine is a sophisticated national insurance company. So she's using colorful language to bolster her argument, saying that they definitely knew about their duty of good faith that holds itself out as offering excellent customer service and an experienced claims handling team. Ms. Heard also is informed and believes that New York Marine is part of the Coaction Specialty Insurance Group, and that Coaction advertises and makes public statements, including on its website, on behalf of New York and its other companies, including New York. So I guess they link right there. Ms. Heard is informed and believes that Coaction uses its website to market its insurance products, represent the nature of its insurance products, and its policy underwriting and its claim handling, and represents the quality of the insurance and service customers of its group's members will receive if they do business with Coaction Company. So people buy insurance for security, for when bad things happen. Did she expect this lawsuit? No. She has insurance for when something bad happens. Same reason why you have homeowners insurance. You don't know what's going to happen, and so that's why you purchase insurance. So insurance is in the business of security, safety. And that's what she's bolstering is they advertised themselves as they will be there for you when you need them. And she's claiming bad faith, and so she's saying that they weren't there. Ms. Heard is informed and believes that New York Marine authorized the statements that Coaction put out. Coaction represents the public and its customers. Coaction's values. So here are Coaction's values. Today, Coaction is a full specialty underwriter across 5 major product verticals: property, casualty, entertainment, which is the one that Amber Heard's lawsuit arises out of, executive liability, and multi-line. Coaction's authentic, collaborative, and results-oriented culture is reflected in the focused approach the company takes to fulfilling the needs of each individual customer by combining product, analytics, underwriting capabilities with strong industry knowledge and partnerships to develop real-world situations. solutions. They say that they're customer focused. We serve the customer, whether they're the broker, policyholder, or other internal customer. Integrity and respect. We consistently display honesty and consideration for the feelings and wishes, rights, and traditions of others across the undertaking, especially when no one is watching. Accountability. We accept responsibility for our own actions and are willing to be judged based on performance. It requires a willingness to be transparent. So that's a big one that they can definitely use in depositions, at a trial if this went to trial as well. What they're saying is we accept the responsibility for our actions, regardless of whether they're good or whether they're bad, whether not indemnifying Miss Heard or not providing counsel, not defending her is wrong. What do you guys think? Do you think that the insurance company should have defended her or should not have defended her? Coaction also represents the public and to its customers that they have special expertise in providing insurance in the entertainment industry. We are experts. Coaction is more than an insurance company. We're a specialty company. Coaction has been writing entertainment business for over a decade with a team of experts located in Southern California, New York, and New Jersey. Who have dedicated their entire careers, target customers, artists, and entertainers. So that's probably why Miss Heard has chosen Coaction and New York to insure her. Entertainment fact sheet final. At Coaction, we strive to provide an exceptional claims handling experience to our clients. Our average claim adjusters has over 15 years of experience and are strategically aligned with our underwriting vertical to provide our insured and claimants a specialized claims encounter. Expert claims team known for its quality, commitment, and integrity. And they're putting all these footnotes to the website that they have gotten these from. Policies are underwritten by Coaction and New York Marine. Coaction has $1.1 billion estimated 2022 premium and $3.2 billion in total assets. So insurance companies make money by one, investing your premiums and making money off of that. And two, by keeping as much money as they can by breaching their duty of bad faith, breaching their duty of good faith by acting in bad faith. So in this case, they're saying that, sorry, Amber Heard, you're on your own. We're not indemnifying you. We're not paying for your judgment. And also, we're not going to represent you in this lawsuit. We're not going to pay for your lawyer. So they're trying to maximize the amount of money that they keep in their pocket. Now, she goes on to show how much coverage she has, $1 million for any person in personal and advertising injury, separate coverage for personal liability. Now she goes on, coverage B, personal and advertising liability, obligated New York Marine to pay those sums that Miss Heard becomes legally to pay as damages because of personal and advertising injury, which seems to be the case in this situation. It also obligated New York Marine to defend Miss Heard against any suit seeking damages for personal and advertising injury. So she's quoting straight from her insurance policy, and this language seems to be pretty point blank that the insurance company should have defended her and probably should indemnify her. Now, what insurance companies don't cover is intentional actions. So did she intentionally defame Johnny Depp? That's the question. The policy defines personal and advertising injury to mean injury including consequential bodily injury arising out of one or more of the following, which includes oral and written publication in any manner of material that slanders or libels a person. So that's more important for in the entertainment industry because they are on a large scale that whatever they say will be broadcasted to a lot more people. And so people are more likely to sue for those things because the defamatory statements have a more widespread effect on that person's reputation. But what do you guys think about defamation lawsuits? Do you think that someone's name, someone's reputation, ruining it is worthy of a lawsuit? If a claim or a suit is brought against Miss Heard because of personal injury caused by an occurrence, this is the policy language from the insurance policy. New York Marine has to provide a defense at its expense by counsel of its choice. So New York Marine gets to choose what counsel it is, even if the suit is groundless, false, or fraudulent. Personal injury is defined to include injury arising out of one or more of the following offenses: oral or written publication of material that slanders or libels a person or organization, including other forms of defamation, or oral or written publication of material, including other forms of defamation that violates a person's right of privacy. So the policy seems to include statements. Obviously, statements, you intend to make statements. If you didn't intend them, then they wouldn't come out of your mouth. And so it looks like this insurance policy covers her for defamatory statements, for libel and slander lawsuits. So the Depp lawsuit. So Miss Heard was sued by her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, in Virginia on a Washington Post op-ed. So an article that she wrote, as we all know. In June 2022, the jury in the Depp lawsuit returned a verdict against Miss Heard for 3 counts of defamation. The appeal is currently pending. This is her first cause of action. New York Marine's breaches and bad faith conduct. So this is the tort that arises from a contract. And bad faith cases are a lot more difficult than breach of contract cases because there has to be something extra than just not treating you poorly. Unfortunately for Miss Heard, New York Marine's performance never lived up to its promises, the promises that she was mentioning further up in this counterclaim. Indeed, New York Marine never fully paid for Miss Heard's defense. So never fully paid for her defense. That's one way to violate New York Marine's duty of good faith, which left Miss Heard to incur hundreds of thousands of dollars in defense costs not paid by any insurer. Withdrew from Miss Heard's defense, expressly repudiated its duties to defend or indemnify Miss Heard, and has consistently placed its interest above those of Miss Heard. So insurance companies are not supposed to put their interest above their insureds, when they often do. And in this case, it seems like that is the situation. In October 2019, New York Marine reserved rights to deny coverage on the ground that Miss Heard behaved intentionally. There you go. I hadn't read this far, and there it is. So New York Marine's reason for failing to deny her coverage, to not indemnify her and not defend her, is that Miss Heard intentionally said these things, thus creating a conflict of interest with Miss Heard and giving Miss Heard the right to an independent counsel, with New York Marine being obligated to pay for the fees and costs of this independent counsel. Nonetheless, New York Marine refused to agree to defend Miss Heard through independent counsel and instead appointed its own counsel. Despite requests from Miss Heard to reconsider, New York Marine persisted in its position, making it impossible for Miss Heard to fully accept this defense provided by New York Marine without prejudicing her defense in the Depp lawsuit. New York Marine's appointed counsel ultimately withdrew on November 20th, 2022. Miss Heard is informed and believes that New York Marine agreed to participate in the defense of Miss Heard by reimbursing Miss Heard's defending insurer, Travelers, for some of the amount it has paid and was paying towards Miss Heard's defense in the Depp lawsuit, but has never done so. So New York Marine said that they would reimburse Travelers for some of the attorney's fees and costs that Travelers had incurred, but apparently they never reimbursed Travelers. Miss Heard's defense in the Depp lawsuit, but has never done so. Thus, at no point has New York Marine fully honored its duty to defend. Once judgment was entered in the Depp lawsuit in accord with jury's verdict, New York Marine took the position that it need not to defend or indemnify Miss Heard, even though that judgment is not final, has been appealed, and may be reversed on appeal. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, on the basis alleges, that New York Marine took this position to benefit its own economic interest at the expense of Ms. Heard's interest, and even though it knew or should have known that the basis for its position are contrary to the law and does not excuse New York Marine from its duty to defend Ms. Heard, which is right. They still had a duty to defend, including its duty to pursue and fund an appeal on her behalf. Whoa. By refusing to provide the defense to which Ms. Heard is entitled to, they wrongfully asserted that Ms. Heard is not entitled to indemnity for any amount that Ms. Heard might be legally obligated to pay from the judgment or settlement from the DEP lawsuit. So her first count is breach of contract. What she's saying here is that New York Marine also had the duty to fully and thoroughly investigate the basis that support Ms. Heard's claim for coverage. They breached its duty by refusing to fully properly defend Ms. Heard in the DEP lawsuit, repudiating its duty to indemnify Ms. Heard for any amounts that Ms. Heard may be legally obligated to pay, and otherwise refusing to perform its duty and acting as alleged above. So what she's saying right here is that New York Marine breached its contract. So an insurance policy is a contract between the insurance company and an individual. In this situation, she's alleging that the insurance company breached that contract by not providing a defense and saying that they're not going to pay the judgment or part of the judgment for which they're liable for. Scroll down to the second count, tortious breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. As mentioned, all insurance companies have a duty of good faith and fair dealing to their insured. So what she's saying in this count is that New York Marine failed to act in good faith and fair dealing with her, and so they violated that duty, and so they can be in big trouble now. And usually on tortious, on insurance bad faith cases, you can get a lot more damages than a breach of contract claim, including punitive damages, which she asks for down at the bottom, which I'll show you. So she's saying that New York Marine refused to fully and properly defend her, refused to indemnify her to its policy limit, not the whole thing, just the policy limit, failing to fully inquire into possible basis that might support coverage for the DEP lawsuit. So what she's saying right here is New York never really investigated or really looked into all the different ways that they could have the duty to defend Amber Heard. Asserting grounds for limiting coverage that it knows are not supported by, taking coverage positions that are contrary to Ms. Heard's reasonable expectations of coverage. So, she quoted the language above that said for advertisement for libel and slander straight in the policy. And so Ms. Heard's understanding was this policy covered me in this situation. And then to find out, they don't cover her. What do you guys think about that? Do you think they should have covered her? Because reading that policy language above, most people, even I would understand that as they will cover me and they will defend me and they will indemnify me. They will pay for a judgment or settlement if I am sued or have claims against me for libel, slander, or defamation. Giving greater consideration to its own interest and failing to have appropriate claims handling guidelines. And she asked for punitive damages. So on the first count, damages according to proof at the time of trial plus interest, and same thing, attorney's fees, including obtaining the benefits due under the policy. So attorney's fees for this lawsuit, and for punitive damages, which is to punish the insurance company for doing this and to deter this insurance company and other insurance companies from acting like this. So that's the answer and the counterclaim. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Amber Heard is right in this situation, or do you think the insurance company is right? We'll have to follow it, and we'll keep you updated.